Dela write my MVVs. Welcome. Report reaching us right now is that President Goodluck Jonathan honors Queen Naomi during one of Ooni of Ife's visits. Okay, urges her to return to the throne amid royal reconciliation. Okay, they said recently, I don't know if you've noticed, they said the Ooni of Ife visited President Jonathan. When the Ooni of Ife embarked on a private royal visit to Okote, the quiet hometown of former President Goodluck Jonathan in Bayelsa State. It was not just a courtesy call, it was a journey woven with deeper intentions, personal honor, and the pursuit of divine reconciliation. Though diplomatic in nature, this visit held the weight of a man seeking clarity and wisdom from a respected elder, someone who had once led a nation and who also understood what it meant to lose something precious in the public eye. President Jonathan, welcomed the Ooni of Ife with the dignity and simplicity that has become his hallmark. The palace entourage dressed in white and gold accompanied the Ooni in silence and reverence. The Ooni was not for cameras, it was for legacy, for advice, and above all, the truth. The two men retreated into a private chamber shortly after their formal exchange of greetings. For hours, they spoke about leadership, the burden of expectation, and the deeper pain that often hide behind crowns and title. But at the heart of the discussion was none other but the gorgeous Dr. Mrs. Ogunsi, that is Olori Naomi. The Ooni, in a deeply, personal tone, opened up to the former president about the journey of his heart. He spoke about Queen Naomi's unique role, not only as a royal consort, but a spiritual woman, a prophetess, whose presence brought balance not just to the throne, but to his inner world. He confessed that her absence had created a void not only in the palace, but within himself. He explained the sacred rituals already undertaken, Abefe Oba, Orike Chan, Aso Ebe offering, and fasting period are part of his, spiritual journey to call her back, okay? They said President Jonathan listened intently. He was not just listening as a statesman, he was listening as a husband, a father, and a man who had been power up close and knew its limitation, and then with the wisdom of someone who has nothing left to prove, he stood up, took the Ooni's hand, and said something simple but profound: bring her home. But bring her with dignity, not pressure. If she is the soul of your throne, let her return as a queen and not as a, compromise, okay? After that moment, President Jonathan did something unexpected. He ordered a short private celebration to honor Queen Naomi. Even in her absence, a chair was placed at the dining table, draped with white lace and coral bead. It was symbolic, a seat reserved for her spirit. Wine was poured and traditional music played softly in the background. President Jonathan said a few words in her honor, recalling how Queen Naomi, during her time as the Ooni's queen, had shown exceptional grace, modesty, and intelligence during, tense public, moments. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Dela Ram. I bring you fresh and spicy juice from the sources still on the royals. How are you guys doing? I appreciate you so much. I love you. I share with my people. If you're yet to subscribe, kindly go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell, and do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, okay? They say he praised her ability to represent the palace without scandal, to carry herself with dignity, and to keep her spiritual identity despite the pressure of the crown. He said she reminded him of strong women in leadership, women who know how to anchor a man of power in purpose. Then, in the presence of the Ooni and selected chief, President Jonathan made a heartfelt plea not to the king, but to Queen Naomi, wherever she was. If you can that they had to speak to her from the Ooni of Ife's phone. I urge you as a father and a friend, go back to your throne. Your king has awaited. Your people have prayed and your presence is still needed. They said the former president also advised the Ooni on the importance of shielding Naomi from palace distraction and the politics of many wives. He reminded him that sometimes a great man must simplify his surroundings to protect his peace. He said, power means nothing if your heart is at war. If this woman gives you peace, then choose, her above protocol. That is what we are hearing, if that information is correct too. They said that evening the Ooni of Ife and President Jonathan prayed together, first in silence, then with word. A candle was lit in honor of peace, and palm oil was used to anoint a calabash filled with white, flowers. The gesture, is symbolic, a representation of restored unity. When the Ooni departed from Otuoko, he was, quieter than when he arrived, but those close to him said he carried a new strength. It was not just the word president had spoken, it was the energy of being seen and understood by someone who had already loved deeply, ruled greatly, and lost gracefully. By the time the Oni returned to Ile-Ife, the palace staff noticed subtle changes. More white clothes were spread across the courtyard. New flowers were planted in Queen Naomi's garden space, and the musician began to softly rehearse songs once played only when she walked, by. Okay, from time to time she goes back to the palace. And Kabiyesi loved this woman so much, and no matter what happened, there is nothing anybody can do. Kabiyesi love Olori Naomi so much. Okay. Now, it's important to us also understand that the visit wasn't all just about reconciliation. Officially, the Oni was on a national unity tour aimed at fostering inter-ethnic harmony, reviving cultural collaboration, and strengthening relationship between traditional institutions and past leaders. He used the opportunity to commend President Jonathan for his peaceful handover of power in 2015, which remains a beacon of democratic maturity in Africa. He thanked him for always supporting traditional institutions and reminded him that the throne of Ife, as the cradle of the Yoruba, people, recognizes him as a son of peace. Gift we exchanged. The Oni presented President Jonathan with sacred artifacts, items that represent peace, unity, and long life. This included a beaded scepter, a bronze Ife face mask, and a carved ivory tux engraved with Oduduwa symbols. Each of these had spiritual meaning. The beaded scepter represented wisdom in leadership. The bronze mask symbolized enduring legacy. The tux, stood for, spiritual strength through silence and, patience. Okay. After the ceremonies, a symbolic libation was poured. Water mixed with palm wine and bitter kola was offered to the head. It was a gesture of peace between men, but also between past and future. The Oni took that moment to say a short prayer for Queen Naomi's part, that wherever she was, her heart would be at peace and her spirit willing to return. President Jonathan, known for speaking with few but impactful words, turned to the Oni and said, "You have done what a man should do. Let her come back as a queen, not because of pressure, but because she sees her place clearly. Make the palace ready." That advice, struck the Ooni of Ife deeply from what we are hearing. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.